we have the upcoming TikTok ban this month, January 19th. They're planning to,
Oh yes,
push it to go dark. Unless the Supreme Court intervenes and allows TikTok to stay, it looks like they're gonna pull the plug on it. Like these rando billionaire cats, they're out here trying to put together a deal to buy TikTok off of the Chinese company ByteDance, but I don't know. It looks like TikTok they don't seem interested in selling. What's your take on that, guys?
They got their own version already, and I tell you this much: all you TikTokers, get ready, save your videos. I think it's a lot of people felt that TikTok was pretty useful. I've seen useful stuff on YouTube Shorts that had things that was useful from TikTok. Yeah, so I don't really have a real take because I didn't use it. I never used TikTok, but I definitely saw some cool videos that people showed me from TikTok. TikTok had a lot of short, concise videos. You put the video into a short preview modes, and you can just view it. You can learn a lot of information within these bite-sized videos. Yeah. That's about it.
Well,
but I know my girl is pretty sad. She's sad. She's mad. TikTok's out of there.
Yeah.
But yeah, go get save your videos, and I'm pretty sure they're probably gonna make Instagram more on some type of dynamic like that if it's not already in that wavelength already. But yeah.
Facts. Well, one thing about TikTok I will point out is that TikTok still has a certain kind of organic growth and reach that IG just doesn't seem to have anymore. YouTube has its own wave, but YouTube is more catering towards the long format. It has a different kind of way how it pushes out shorts and spreads things, and it has a certain kind of way where it targets content with shorts. But even when you look at YouTube shorts, they're not like TikTok. So I do like the behavioral patterns on TikTok. And then as far as just like when we do look at overzealous kind of fact checking and like how IG and Meta as a whole started curating their content and curating what you saw, and curating certain messages. Like, all right, if you were looking for information that has certain political or certain tones, Meta was basically killing that and kind of purging that from the algo, and Zuckerberg literally this week just recalled that and was like, look, yo, we not doing that anymore. We're no longer pressing fact checking and all that stuff because it's more harmful than good. Of course, if something is like completely a lie and overzealous, they're gonna pull it, but they overcorrected. And a lot of people who, a lot of public figures and different personalities who were spreading certain messages that were politically based, they got deplatformed, demonetized, and booted. And TikTok was a place where like they were like, look, we don't really care about all that stuff. We're gonna just spread messages and spread certain things, and I think TikTok is super important in that regard. On the flip side, a lot of government officials, they want to pull TikTok. They want to pull even the DJI drones and things like that because they believe, I don't have this particular point of view, but they believe that these products are a national security threat. Namely, TikTok allows, because ByteDance is headquartered in Beijing, TikTok allows for Chinese government officials to monitor and spy on U.S. government officials. I mean, not U.S. government officials, just the 170 plus million users of TikTok, and spy on them and get their information. But keep it a buck. It's like, yo, they know everything that they need to know already.
That's so true.
It's like,
I don't think they need TikTok.
they don't need TikTok. We openly give all the information out already. Like,
Oh yeah, definitely. That's the real silver lining.
yeah, that's the crazy part. That's the crazy part.
I could see a scenario where they ban it, and then President-elect Trump wanting to get like some people on his side unbanning it.
Yeah, the TikTok ban is a political move because certain parties feel sour and they also want to deplatform in advance. Because the way how they play the game, they're not like most voters are looking at it in the election year. Okay, who do we like? You know, yeah. Last election season was kind of weird. No primaries and all this stuff. That was kind of weird. But social media allowed, this was the podcast election race, and social media, TikTok allowed people to really get a real take on like, okay, we can't get a lens and a take on who these people are for this powerful seat of office through traditional news media. ABC is lying to us. CNN, we don't know where you guys are. Fox, hey, you guys, maybe giving us information, but you're also too skewed on that other side. So the actual real neutral perspective was TikTok. So now to see it on the chopping block is kind of crazy because I don't think that there's any real national security threat because all that data we are readily giving out like for free. Like OnlyFans is crazy. Like you could see the anatomy of half the chicks that you went to high school with on OnlyFans. And they're not trying to ban it. You can see all the secret tattoos on Mary Beth from freshman year in college. And it just seems like we're just ignoring the real issues here.
Nah, you don't know what's going on. There's something going on about that stuff. You probably might not be aware, but
hey, we got to make ourselves aware.
I watch my YouTube a lot, and my YouTube algorithm goes down this deep dive sometimes. But there's like this big lawsuit. Like Pornhub is getting. There's this big thing when Pornhub is supposed to be getting banned, supposedly. But there's this big thing because a lot of the information on Pornhub was like we were talking about in the last episode about data, and Pornhub has a lot of unstructured data. So another issue that they were having were who were the people on their website? Like who are the people in these videos on your website? And if you had the proper coding, the proper writing coding to put in to input or whatever secret words that people use, you put in the right words and like they have like minors and stuff like that on there.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, that's sickness. That's
so
sickness.
They're like who are these people that submit these videos? They needed verification. So Pornhub lacked a lot of verification, and a lot of these other websites, yes, they lack verification. And I heard like right after that whole big thing popped off, yeah, they took down about like 80% of their catalog because they didn't follow a lot of the rules for when it came to like who are like basically I guess who are in these videos. And I guess the difference between OnlyFans is that OnlyFans, when you're in a video, you need to put your information that says these are the people here in this video that they have. So yeah, there's a lot going down. Like a lot of people doing the whole Diddy craziness, but it's a lot going down. It's a lot going down. The more you know, the more you find out you know nothing. But when you really
True.
For real. But
well, what's illmatic though? My bone to pick though with porn is that like it synthesizes a whole situation in the brain that like don't get it wrong. If you're in a certain jam and you need to do that, I do that, because I think every man, I don't care what walk of life you are, what religion you are, you definitely had to use that at a specific junction. I think where it gets off track, like the criminal activity. Yeah, because it's real. It's just like, come on, yo. I know you a liar if you say you never watch porn or you never use, but come on, bro. You know, yeah, everybody's done it. You know, including the Pope. But it's just it's just, I look at it like, you know, there's a limit. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to like the protection of children or protected groups, I definitely feel like no, absolute red line, no. That should never be a real thing. But unfortunately, there's evil, nasty people. And then on the other side, there's different ways to get fulfillment. And I feel like with porn, is filling up the brain with like fake fulfillment. And now we're in the precipice of like, you know, it's connected to the entertainment slowdown, which we're talking about these LA fires and the entertainment slowdown. And, you know, I've heard the talk of people waiting out till spring and all this stuff. And I'm thinking like, yo, this AI shit is about to rock everything, because porn is what got Google off the ground. You know, like whether or not they want to say it, freaky dudes was trying to find images, and the best way to search images was to go to Google. You know, and now it's commonplace because there's so many sites. And now, you know, young ladies are putting their bodies on OnlyFans for $3.99. But back then, it's like in the dial-up connection days, it was like you couldn't readily get, you know, access to this unless you kind of had to go through hoops. So Google was a huge convenience item in that regard, in terms of being able to access a plethora of images and eventually video as we got DSL, etc. And you know, it was a great tool that helped, you know, one of the greatest technological revolutions in human history. But now with AI, it's kind of crazy, because I know y'all saw how they got these AI influencers and these AI models, and I'm just like, once when they ripped the seal off and put this into the adult entertainment space, it's just like now these same girls that was doing all these, you know, these vile, secretious acts, now they're getting replaced by digital performers. And now, like,
you just make AI porn.
Yeah, now it's just like, you know, so to me, it's just like, you know, on one hand, AI could be a great tool to you know, allow you to do some incredible things without requiring millions of dollars and whole teams of people. But at the same time, it's just like, all right, a completely synthetic, you know, experience, you know, in that regard is like, it's kind of crazy, because like our previous episode, we were talking about AI, not even thinking about that. But when I see AI images, I do feel like it's porn versus the real thing. You know, I don't feel like it's real. Like, and for some reason, you know, we're all entertainment professionals here. I'm watching all these tests, and I'm like, wow, they're impressive. But at the same time, I'm like, but why can my brain still tell that these are fake?
You know why I think your brain says it's fake?
Go ahead.
Because I think I noticed the same thing. I think your brain says it's fake because of the way the images look. It's not that it's too clean. It's the scenarios that these images are in. I think that's what it is. Like,
it's like Uncanny Valley.
Yeah, it's like too clean. It's too. I haven't seen nothing that looks like. No, I'm lying if I did say I haven't seen anything. But a lot of the images you see, like, yeah, it has like a lot of cleanness to it. It's like, oh man, it's hard to tell.
One thing is physics. That it's very hard for these apps to get physics correct. Like, physics are kind of,
the physics are kind of like, too smooth.
Yeah, well, they're unhuman. Like, different ones do it a little differently. We were talking about VO2 from Google. That one actually has some of the best like walking physics. But then there's other weird stuff that it does, like when you have like a close up of the eyes, it can't like track in a way where it looks like a human yet. It looks photorealistic, but it doesn't connect like a person that's present. And it's so many different like small things that makes a human image human. And it's just like I'm pretty sure. Well, we're also looking at a massive beta test of it, so I'm pretty sure in the next year, 2 years, we're definitely going to see a lot of improvements to where it's going to be a lot harder to distinguish. But still, I think we have to. I think we're seeing the start of a great divide. I don't have confidence that the entertainment industry is going to fully recover and resurge in terms of human-led production. And I think we have to start having like real conversations on like, all right, how do we pivot as entertainment professionals to hold the line and keep control? Because it's like, on one side, you got this.
You have to go with the AI, bro. You have to.
Yeah, I think you gotta wield it. I do think you gotta wield it. I do think you have to pick it up and use it and supercharge your process. And at the same time, it's just like, all right, what does that mean? Because everybody's got a different style. I'm just looking at everything all at once. It just feels almost overwhelming sometimes from an information perspective. Just really, digesting the industry. And I feel like that's the key important thing behind even platforms like this, where it's just like, yo, we gotta really start having these discussions to digest what's going on a weekly basis, daily basis. These news cycles are so fast and so jam-packed with so much information. And I also feel like from certain points of representation, it's just like, all right, certain groups are represented in certain areas. And I feel like from like a black masculine perspective, it's just like, yo, what kind of conversations are we having? And a lot of what's taking up the space right now in the airwaves is like man versus woman 20v1 type conversations. And it's just like, not every dude is a part of the He-Man Woman Haters Club. Like, like we off that. Like, I think there's other issues that are actually much bigger fish to fry. And this intersection between entertainment, technology, and just like actual like geopolitical events is something that we gotta start having like structured conversation around, because other groups are having these conversations. Asian dudes, they having these conversations. White dudes, they, in certain communities, they having these conversations. And it's just like, yo, we the only ones in America who like, we not having these conversations in a meaningful, like structured way. And like, we're going to be last place if we don't start like organizing our messaging. That's like a huge thing for me.
Man, organizing the messaging. I feel like that will make us feel better about TikTok even.
Yeah. It would be sad to see TikTok go. It would be awful to see it go, because I also feel like I'm still trying to digest the Supreme Court hearing from Friday, January 10th. I know that like they were trying to push, hey, it's a violation of the First Amendment. It's also monopolistic for TikTok to be banned, because now they're consolidating the actual major social media platforms. Yeah, man, it'll be sad to see TikTok go. I actually don't want TikTok to go. Even though I'm like not a real TikTok user, I just feel like meaningful competition. Like if you only had to go to Shell gas station, even though you're a regular Shell user, and they shut down Exxon and BP and all these other brands, you may not use those other brands regularly. But if you're on a highway trip and there's only Exxon or only BP or only, just whatever brand that's not Shell, you're gonna want to stop there at some point and do what you gotta do. But if they just remove all of them, then it's just like, yo, what's going on here? So to me, I just feel like some of these decisions are overreach in the political realm. And it's just like, younger me would be like, all right, this is above my pay grade. But now, just at this day and age, it's like, I think it's a responsibility and duty of everyone to keep a close eye on, like, yo, if it's something that's politically related and you're an American citizen, you need to
Pay attention.
pay very close attention.
And lock the hell in.
Yeah, we gotta lock in.
Yeah, I feel like with the whole TikTok thing, nobody ever really talks about like the positives that TikTok brings in terms of, like, there's misinformation for sure, but there also is just information.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times I feel like that's why some folks want it banned, because people go in rabbit holes on TikTok, and the rabbit holes sometimes get deep, and sometimes the rabbit holes are correct. So I can see why certain individuals may not want certain rabbit holes to get any deeper than they are. And yeah, man, Elon Musk is literally becoming a supervillain at this point. It's funny rewatching Iron Man, and he's like he stars in it like for like a scene or two, and it's funny because, like, why? But hey, Tony Stark, he's Elon Musk.
Yeah. Well, you know what's crazy though is that X as a platform, after he did take it over, he did lead that wave of just like, all right, we're not gonna do overzealous censorship of messages just because they're leaning one direction or another.
In essence, what is that? That is a reactionary, like, that's part of a reactionary movement.
Mm-hmm.
That is right wing in essence. Like, forget this political correctness. Let's go back to before it was politically correct.
Yeah. But you know what's crazy though is that, like, I do believe that political correctness is the death of black justice specifically. Like, we don't get this done by trying to say things the politically correct way. Sometimes you just gotta say things the way it needs to be said. It doesn't mean be nasty, even though some people are just nasty and sometimes it happens. But saying things in a truthful, like, straight shooter kind of format, it gets stuff done.
Yeah, there's just so many people that, like, can't really, that, like, you have to coddle them. You have to coddle the information in order for them to understand it. Because it's like an emphasis on not what the person means, but exactly what they say.
If you in certain specific positions, a certain job, for example, you got to code switch in order to survive. So it's like you're stuck in this hamster wheel because you can't really express how you really feel. Sometimes people do need to get cursed out, or sometimes, certain things need to get said, and you can't say it because you know that you got to keep your job. You know that you got to go with the politically correct way of approaching things. And I just feel like the glove got to come off, because the people who run in the world and really putting stuff together, they are not interested in being politically correct. They are focused on saying what they got to say the way they got to say it. And now we're in the age of, like, look, we don't care who's offended. We just saying the truth of where we're at. And I think in a strange way, it's like, all right, when you look at the Constitution, First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of press, that is foundational for any, like, society like ours, where it's just like, yo, we got to be able to speak in an honest voice. So it's like that line of kind of like, all right, how big is too big? Or, if you're a platform that allows people to share messages, what are the guidelines? Do we only have ideas that agree with what we say, or do we have ideas up to the point to where it's just unsafe or untrue? And those are two separate things. And that nuance is totally lost in, today's society. And like, we've seen the overcorrection. Now we're seeing, Elon did his move. Zuckerberg announced this past week, hey, yo, we're not doing fact checking anymore. We're only, doing security checks, basically. on like, all right, if somebody's, you know, saying some, you know, terroristic type stuff or whatever, they gotta step in. But if it's
in my opinion,
yeah,
that seems like real fuel for a civil war.
I think there's something to that. I think there's something to that. But should we go to war over a difference of opinion or perspective? Like, America's a huge ass place. You know what I mean? Like, America as a country is so massive to where I'm not saying, hey, states should succeed. I think that is a wild concept. But for everybody to agree, I don't think that's realistic. I feel like America is so large.
That's very true.
Yeah, I think America is so large to where you see it in the numbers in the elections. This is always going to be half of the country that just feels a different way. It's just always going to be that.
Yeah.
But as a society,
even when it was 13 colonies, they couldn't get all 13 to agree.
Exactly. So it's just like you're always gonna have, you know, somebody just feels a different way. You gotta really, really, really navigate, and you gotta be unafraid to take off the political gloves. Like, political correctness ain't the way for us, yo. We gotta stop trying to do that.
Yeah, I never really thought about that, like, from that perspective, and definitely makes a lot of sense. Like, and I do love in situations when I go against the grain, and you know, maybe tell a producer or an employer something that I shouldn't have, but I feel firm in it, you know, and I just stay away from political correctness and just express myself in the moment. Those are some of the moments I'm way more proud of than anything else. So it's like, I could see how like a lesser of that could help our people and centralize us back into a lot of these conversations. You know, stuff like, I feel like words like people of color, you know, started like taking some weight away from black people.
Yeah. I think these word soups, like, yeah, a lot of political terminology has diluted the power and the gumption of not just black people. It's like, as a black man, it's like, damn, yo, I do not like that term, people of color. Call me black. You know, if I'm with an Asian brother, hey, call them Asian. No, call them specifically Japanese or Korean or Chinese. If they are, identify them as they are, because it's not just one monolithic group. Specifics are important, you know, and not so much on nationality. It's more of just like identity. And it's just like when I think you over politicize stuff like that, they softball into like washing away like your identity and your own like specific individual self. I think that's the danger of it, is that like now these labels, they become these blanket labels that they could hide behind, and really nothing gets done because now it's this big giant blanket, and now they gotta divvy up whatever result that was gained from it, whether it's resources, money, etc. Then now you got to divvy it up with all the people of color, and I think that's what happened with like, you know, we're not even gonna get into that because that's not what this podcast is about. But we know, we gonna leave it there. But yo, actually. Yeah, I think this was a great conversation, guys. Man, I really appreciate y'all for jumping in, jumping on the line. We'll definitely have more in the future. Streety, can you tell us where the people can find you?
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram at Daniel Streety. That's Daniel Streaty. And also on TikTok. Well, you got to add me before the 19th, but at D.Street, Streat.